Blau, or Blau, is the artist Reiner Schneeberger, who links back to works he created in the late 70s. He is an AI art artist and, of course, a visionary. Alex Korolov is the news editor for Hypergrid Business and Metastellar. He is a journalist who writes for CIO Magazine and Network World. And Juliette of Surrealdreaming is the curator of quite a few art collections, including the Surreal Gallery here on the OSCC grid. And she inspires us with every conference. Please check out the website found at conference.opensimulator.org for speaker bios, details of the sessions, and the full schedule of events. The session is being live streamed and recorded, so if you have questions or comments during the session, you may send tweets to @OpenSimCC with the hashtag #OSCC22. Welcome, everyone. Let's begin the session.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction. Hi, everybody. You guys probably remember me from yesterday where I did the OpenSim stats presentation. And here I am again today. And so we've got a couple of real artists here with us on the panel. And Alex, who's a technology journalist, and he's also a musician in his former life, and I guess still current life, playing Renaissance music. But he's been covering technology, and he writes for a bunch of national and global technology publications. So thanks, Alex, for coming here. And Juliette and Reiner, we've talked about art before here for the OpenSim Community Conference in previous years. So thank you, all of you, for joining me here today. This is great, and this is a great time to be in AI. So just to summarize quickly what happened over this past few months, we had 3 big things happen in art. That's OpenAI, Midjourney, and Stability AI's Stable Diffusion model. And that all happened in basically since April. OpenAI's DALL-E 2 came out in April, closed beta, and only a few people were able to get in by invitation, but they started posting all this art. Everybody went nuts, but they couldn't get in. And Midjourney came out with a competing platform, which I think looks prettier and it was cheaper, with a public beta on July 12th. And OpenAI, which had been kind of holding back on releasing it to the public, worried about what people were going to do with this AI, opened their public beta on July 20th. Both of these are proprietary, closed code, expensive systems. And then Stable Diffusion came out in August, and they spent $500,000 to train this AI. They released it to the public for free. So you can download it and run it on your home computer. And Alex, I believe you've done that, right? You're running it on your Mac right now?
Yes, I just downloaded it this week and gave it a trial run.
Yeah, so I've been using Midjourney because I don't want to download anything on my computer and learn to run open source code. But yeah, so Alex did it. It's definitely doable, and you can generate free AI images just by typing in a text prompt, something like dog riding a bicycle on the moon, and it will draw you a picture of a dog riding a bicycle on the moon in the style of any artist you want. So, which is where the problems come in. And the last thing that happened is 10 days ago, on November 30th, OpenAI also released their ChatGPT, which talks and writes code like a human and has common sense and can manage really long conversations, stuff that AI experts have told me was still years away. So everybody is freaking out about ChatGPT, just as much as artists have been freaking out over DALL-E 2, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion. There's a bunch of legal and ethical issues. So TikTok already had to settle a lawsuit last year from when they trained AI on the voice of an actress without her permission. Beginning of this year, the U.S. Copyright Office ruled yet again that AI art cannot be copyrighted. So if you create something with AI, currently you cannot copyright it. On the plus side, a little bit of positive news, Shutterstock will begin paying artists for using their work to train AI. So finally, something good's coming out of it. But odds are these are only the brand name artists and photographers whose names people know, like draw me a painting in the style of Picasso, that kind of thing. Another AI that's been trained is OpenAI and Microsoft's Colab, and it writes code, and a developer has filed suit against it. And again, because they were using training data without compensating the open source community. So this issue of just the AI companies taking all this information, all these pictures, all this code, all this writing that's out there in the public, including copyrighted code, and using it to train their eyes. It's a big deal right now. A lot of discussion happening. Probably we're going to see some legislation, or at the very least, a bunch more lawsuits. So the first person we've got talking to us today has brought a bunch of AI art with him that he's done. His name is Reiner Schneeberger. He was introduced earlier. He's an AI developer as well as artist and curator. He's also known as Art Blue in World. And I'm going to show you a few pictures of art created with an AI program. And this is award-winning art, and it's won awards. So Midjourney has actually won an art competition. So this is not your grandfather's AI art from like a few months ago. This is completely different. Everything changed this summer. So Art, tell us about what you're doing with Midjourney here.
Thank you, Maria. I happily do it, and I will stay in my 5 minutes. So, listening to introduction, my thoughts drifted to Sherry Manga's installation Insanity. We talked before, and you said to me that it is all insane now. So I thought, yes, it fits. In 2014, in Insanity, human bodies have moved their octopus-like arms up and down of dunes of sand and some heads dancing on balloons. And there is a nice machina on it. So if you have time during one of the breaks, it's worth to look at it. It was 2014. Yeah, when I tried my first experiments with the Midjourney AI, I was a bit prepared on it. My son Georg presented in 2019 here at the OSCC conference how to bring an installation from OpenSim to Unity. He is now working on his master degree in big data science, so I'm following quite close up what AI technology does look like. I came to the conclusion that we as humans don't understand them, the AI systems, but we can use them. I thought, what an insanity happens here when Midjourney created the first pictures from my text prompt, how to explain pictures to a dead horse. When I saw the first AI paintings, I was stunned. The horse was really dead, and I bet the horse understood the picture. That must be the view of an artist. You say, no sane person would see it this way. But if you know where the phrase, how to explain pictures to a dead horse is stolen from, you will smile. I said paintings. This makes it more provocative than saying pictures. This was in August this year. You could see some of the dead horses in the Machimina, which was presented yesterday after my talk of the Blue Man in the High Castle. I post the link for this video. Yeah, then I got an invite by the Divine Feminine movement. So we had a look now at some of the works I submitted. I gave my works a pleasing title, God is a Woman. I was the only man among the Guild of the Divine Entities. Everybody who was there yesterday knows that I'm a machine, so I'm genderless. So I think that I called myself Kunst Blau is the reason I slipped through the scanners as a man. Yeah, Kisma. This is my right as a machine to change gender, even to be a code. Yesterday was a talk I gave in a more funny way about this, but there is truth behind. By the way, I have a passport by NSK, the new Slovenian Kunst movement, which proclaims the existence of a stateless state of art by this name. So don't say Kunst Blau is a fake. For all who could not attend yesterday's talk of the Blue Man, I post the slides, so you can read back a lot of what I think about this this upcoming technology and the impacts. I plan to do much more in this field, to work as an artist. Why is it so? I feel as a curator, let me link to the last project, the America Art, that I can sometimes do as good as the artists I work with. I post the link for the catalog of America Art in chat. We can page through the catalog. Here it is. The result of what I and Juliette announced in 2020 at the OSCC conference, where I made a call to contribute, you see there. Art Blue is a curator, Juliette is a co-curator. It went to a great outcome, all made in Open Simulator. Many thanks to all of you and the committee, and thanks in special to Juliette. But now back. Until recently, I had not found a field that is really something I want to do for my own, to do it with my own hands, let's say to create an artistic brand. I'm basically a minimal artist, a conceptual artist in the field, in the line of So Live It. So Live It said, the idea becomes a machine that makes the art. This was in 1967 when he wrote his paragraphs on conceptual art. Now I can bring complex ideas to work, thanks to AI systems. In general, I like to deal with art reception, with the change in art reception, and virtual immersive worlds are the right test bed for this. Art seen by avatars. The German term is Avatar Kunst. It fits very well. Avatar art sounds for me a bit lame. I could explain why, but I guess I'm already running close to my time limit. I will post a link in chat so you can find back some traces, because I'm a little bit older guy now, and I like to look always back to the past, so I can look to the future. Later in the discussion, we surely come back to the AI question of art creation and art reception by using art generators. And maybe I can call you, dear audience, to dig out beauty, to boldly go where no AI system has gone before.
Thank you, Art. Next up, we have Juliette, Surrealdreaming, and there's her website up there. And Juliette, can you tell us about what you are doing in AI art?
Not much, to be honest. I'm a canvas painter, so I still am old-fashioned with regards to using brush and wet paint and getting, messy with it. But when I came across Midjourney, it was in July, actually. So I didn't realize it had come out in July. So it might have been early on. When I saw it, I realized, oh, this is going to be a huge trend, like in Second Life. And I brought it to Art, sharing my feelings about it. It's like, this is going to blast through the metaverse. This is going to become the art form. And my position with it was, we have to nip it in the bud, because I'm so tired of all of these real life artists in virtual worlds claiming all their art is real when it's graphics or, created with applications. And I had already met somebody who was showing Midjourney art as real life painted art. And I just thought that we gotta have some transparency here. Let's be proud and say, hey, I'm a master of AI generated images. I'm a real wordsmith. I share some, I don't know, did you get a, did you? Yeah. See these images on the poster right now. This was the freebie. I went to the Midjourney and I typed in, that's what I typed in, that sentence right there. And those are the 2 of the 4 that came up right away. And you can see they're interesting, but not really anything. And then when I tweaked him just a little bit, that was the next slide. This came up, which was, okay, that's a little more interesting. It's got some cool things in it. And then the third and the final play with it was this one, which I thought, I like it. That's pleasantly surprising for an AI. But I'm going to be honest, as an artist who sells real paintings, and I'm using the word real because I sell my paintings. I'm in exhibits and people come up and pay me cash and I hand over the canvas and it goes by and I never see it again. I can never claim this is art. This will never be art in my world of reality. It is beautiful. Things that get created are just out of this world. And the use I have found for it is I went to Blau and I said to him, hey, I'm finishing up a novel that's going to see publication in January. It's the completion of my novel series. Would you illustrate it? If I give you the descriptions, would you create Midjourney pictures for me? Because what I saw art do in such a short period of time was very masterful. He just really dove in and became, in my personal opinion, one of the best AI image capturers or conjurers or whatever term we want to give it.
Artists.
No. An artist creates. Creative inspiration comes through them.
I am a machine. I'm a machine.
Whatever. You machine. I like your machine art for sure. So much that he's created the front cover for a novel. I think they're perfect for front covers of novels, and also chapter illustrations throughout the book. So I've got like 40 of his images coming out in my new novel that'll be out in January. And I think that's a great way of using this new form of virtual art. I want to call it virtual art. That's what it is. It's virtual art. I recognize it as art, but yeah.
I think we're gonna need some new words.
Exactly.
Like I'm thinking of how painters must have felt when photography came along. Like what? You just point the camera and you get a picture? That's not art. Sure, it looks like the most detailed possible landscape artist drew it with like microscopic pens, but it's not art because you just pointed a camera. But over time, photography did develop it in its own art form. Because you're playing with composition, you're playing with lighting, you're playing with other stuff like that, and maybe something like that will evolve eventually with AI. Although it's too early because this just came out,
Right.
this summer.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is when you talk to a professional photographer, they don't claim artist. They don't claim that word. They proudly say, I am a photographer. Because it's a different skill set. It's a different creative outlet and tool that gets used. So they recognize that this isn't a painting. A photograph isn't a painting. Just like an artist, a painter will never say, I'm a photographer. I mean, we just,
Right.
it's the delineation of good terminology now that's needed. So what is it? I want to create. Yeah, creativity comes in so many different forms. I agree with you, Owl. I just read a local chat. And I think that, the presentation I gave, art is art is art. But, there's that factor of looking at it and recognizing this isn't painted. This
Yeah.
I can't claim that as mine.
Right.
So
And legally you can't, because you can't copyright AI art.
Right.
Which is a little weird because you can spend days tweaking the prompt to get just the right one out of it. And then you might have to do some more edits in Photoshop or something just to get it to look exactly right. But that and the prompt that you save, you're not really so much creating this picture as discovering it somewhere in that vector space that is the AI model, because somebody else with exactly the same prompt, exactly the same settings, and exactly the same random number seed will get the same picture out at the end, or close to it.
Or close to it, yeah. And here's something, I mean, I didn't go past the freebie. Let me tell you, I ran through those, what is it, 25 clicks they give you. I went through them so fast before I even realized what I was doing, and ended with this little guy. But there's a whole, I think there's like a whole index. Art, you know this better than I, but there's certain words and phrases that have been developed now that you pop in if you want the sky to look a different, you know, if you want to, I mean, so it's becoming its own skill set. It's becoming, you know, really polished. And I think it needs to be defined as something pretty fantastic, but I can't call it art. I'm sorry.
But then again, you know, Jackson Pollock throwing paint at a canvas.
Yeah, but we were familiar with abstract art when Pollock started throwing paint, you know, so abstract has been around before.
Right, but you can make the same arguments about the amount of effort that it goes into. That he didn't paint this.
Yeah,
he just splashed a bucket of paint on a canvas, randomly generated a picture by splashing it with paint. Is that art?
It's freeing. I did it and it was fun. Oh my God, it was so fun.
All right. So, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about?
No, I just really think there's a place for it. Absolutely, there's a place for it. And I just would like to come up with an incredible title for it. AI is so blasé, AI image generation, art, whatever, you know, but is it digital art? You can't call it graphic art because the graphic artists are going to go, that's not graphic. You know, everybody's going to grumble because we're stepping on toes with this new creative format, but it's not even creative. And that because you're just typing in words at a prompt. You're doing nothing except putting it in a description. So you're not creating it, period.
Right.
So what is it? I don't know. I really honestly don't know.
All right. So next we have my little brother, Alex. Alex, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Maria.
So as we mentioned, he's a freelance technology journalist. He writes for CIO, Network World, CSO, and the New Stack. And he's the news editor at Metastellar and Hypergood Business. If you write an article for Hypergood Business, there's a good chance that he'll be working with you to edit it and get it up on the site. And he's recently done an article. Well, first of all, he recently had an article done, did an article that was completely written by ChatGPT. And he's also written an article for Hypergood Business about how virtual worlds are using AI art.
Yeah, I have the links. Let's see. Let me pull up.
I just posted
did you get
the
those?
link.
Great.
Posted a link to your Hypergood Business article on how people are using AI art. And here's the link to the ChatGPT article.
Great.
So can you summarize that for us? How do you see virtual worlds and virtual environments using AI generators?
Sure. Yeah, so you can see this slide here. I just downloaded Stable Diffusion myself this week, and it worked just fine on my Mac. This is a J.R.R. Tolkien 3D inspired fantasy setting that was created in under 30 seconds. Now, in my case, I don't pretend to be an artist. I don't call myself an artist, but in some way, I feel like I created that, even though I just typed a few words into this random little box. It's truly amazing. I remember Maria first showed me Midjourney, probably about just February or March of this year. I remember how impressed I was. I'm just as impressed by Stable Diffusion. These text-to-image AI generators are taking over. They're everywhere. You see people posting, whether, I'm going to leave that up for the world to decide whether the person's the creator or not. But this art is everywhere, and it's in all sorts of virtual worlds. What Maria has here on the slide, that's a Second Life user. Her name is Handheld. Those two paintings are AI generated, and that's in her Second Life home. What you have here, this next slide, this is the AI in Dreams gallery in Kitely. Those are all AI generated images by Dale Innes. This is everywhere. There are all sorts of museums. This is the Mers Dalium. All the art that's created in there is created on DALI 2. It's by a German artist, Mers Mensch. You can view that museum on your computer. I walked around on my computer, but he even says on your website, you can strap on your Oculus Quest 2 or your Meta Quest 2, whatever you want to call it. You can just walk around in virtual reality. There's tons of museums like this. This is an example of some art from the Mers Dalium right there. That's inspired by a marble from an ancient work of marble from 200 BC. This slide here, that is something that was created in Stable Diffusion by a developer named Scotty Fox. You have a still image here, but that's actually a 3D image, and you can actually walk around in it. You can kind of get closer and farther. You can look 360. If you have a VR and headset around, you are in this virtual world that was created by AI. And it's not a big world. It's just a 360 view of this image that this developer, Scotty Fox, asked to create, but it's its own little virtual world. So these little works of art can be their own little worlds. They can be put in worlds. So like in Second Life, the user put in their home just to decorate the home. The AI Dreams, it's a whole museum, a whole region, an open sim. You can go around, you can walk around, you can enjoy the art on your own time. This is everywhere. I think there's only going to be more and more of this. This all just started this year, and this stuff is everywhere already. My mind is blown. It's like magic to me. So can you do you have control of the slides, Maria? Can you go back a little bit? Okay, can you freeze there? So I want to talk a little bit, and now we're all using the big ones are DALI 2, Stable Diffusion, Midjourney. You just saw some examples. They're everywhere, more to come. And when I was researching for my article, I saw so many sites, 10 best options for AI text-to-image generators, 12 best options. There's more than these. These three are just the big ones. There's more out already.
Well, all the others are either licensing Stable Diffusion or licensing OpenAI. But the actual AI generators are just those three.
Sure, but you're going to be seeing more and more variations, I think, popping up, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
and Stable Diffusion's open source, so people can tweak it and like make it 3D or make it video or all sorts of things.
Yep. So in a year, going to be like 100 best options, even if they're all based off Stable Diffusion. These articles, it's all going to be out there, right? I think the Pandora's box is open. The explosion's just beginning. This is the birth of a new universe, right? This is just, we're at the beginning of this. Like the ChatGPT article. I mean, this thing could put a lot of writers out of jobs, but we already had to write an article for us just because of the sheer novelty of it. We thought it was cool. I gave it about 20 prompts. It took me 20 minutes. It wrote a 600, 700 word article. It's amazing. It's really, Maria and I we were talking to each other. We were talking to ChatGPT, having it write articles for us. I mean, it's really blowing my mind. Okay, so here, let's talk about the future. This is from a demonstration. You can see this slide here. That's by Meta, Mark Zuckerberg. You've all heard of Zuckerberg. This is a demonstration. No, this is from a demonstration he did. It's on YouTube. You can look up the video. He did this in February. This is called the Builder Bot. And this is a voice to image kind of, let's say a variation. This is a beach setting he created just by talking out loud. He said, we want a palm tree. We want some clouds. There, I think he has his hoverboard. That's a hobby he has. I wrote about it in my article. What does he call it? A hoverfoil. I'm just going to look this up for a second. Hydrofoil. So that's his hydrofoil. It's right next to the little robot there. So this is very basic. I mean, in the demonstration, you can see the graphics are very basic. It's very simple. This is not something people are really using yet, but it's a future potential. If people are considering themselves artists by using DALL-E 2, by using Stable Diffusion, by Midjourney, will you consider yourself an artist by logging into the metaverse and telling it to create a beach setting, telling it to create a forest, a park? I don't know, but this technology exists already, even though in a simple form. I can see in 5 years somebody getting on some metaverse setting or on some open sim or some virtual world. There'll be so many options and saying, I want to be in a beautiful forest. And suddenly you're in a completely realistic forest. And you say, you know what? I want a real life Tyrannosaurus Rex to be walking around the background. And there it is, generated in real time. I can see that happening sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So this is the BuilderBot demo. Let's go on to the next slide. Okay, this is style transfer technology, and this is another YouTube video you can look on. This is from a demonstration that was done by, let's see who did this.
So style transfer is the previous generation of AI. That's where you take an image and you apply the style of, say, Picasso to it, which is different from what this year's programs do, which is create something totally brand new, completely from scratch, just by having a text prompt.
Exactly, yes. So this is from a Google Stadia. This is from a demonstration in 2019. Funny enough, Google Stadia just shut down due to lack of popularity, but this is from a demonstration. In this case, this is from Kandinsky's Yellow, Red, Blue. In their demonstration, they also applied Starry Night, Scratch Art, Pac-Man. Pretty much you can say, oh, I want this scene in real time. Let's just change the whole, and this is just because of the whole artistic, you can pick any artistic style. So I can see this applied to virtual worlds in the future. Let's say you're in a setting and you want it to be represented as a Picasso setting, and boom, in real time, your whole background, all the characters, all the buildings, everything is different. You want it to all look like Starry Night. Boom, suddenly you're surrounded by this Starry Night. I can see this totally being applied to different virtual worlds.
You can also use it. You can also use this to change the weather. So for example, if you have a sunny region, you can say, make it winter, and it would restyle everything to be wintry.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool. And I can see this being applied to virtual worlds in the future. This demonstration was 3 years old and they were doing it in real time. So I just thought it was really cool. And I included it because I was talking to a Facebook machine learning engineer named Amey Darwatkar, and he mentioned this as a potential future application of just changing your whole setting in a virtual world.
So what's this?
When I talked to the machine learning engineer, he mentioned this as a possible future application. We've all heard about the deep fakes, the stuff that looks like real people. This is not a real lady. This was created by NVIDIA's StyleGAN, which is one of the pretty popular options. In the simplest way, the technology is created through the use of two neural networks working off each other to create these very hyper-realistic images. This is a 2D images. That's been the general application. In my research online, I saw that people are already creating 3-dimensional images. So you could kind of shift around and see it as a 3-dimensional image. And the Facebook engineer I was talking about was just mentioned this as one potential future technology. Imagine an entire virtual world created in real time where all the people look like this girl, except they're 3-dimensional. And imagine something like ChatGPT is creating real-time conversation. So you feel like you're talking to a real person. They look like a real person. They look like a real person. I can see stuff like this popping up. I mean, it's so hard to predict in the next 2 to 5 years. So this is the GAN, the Generative Adversarial Network. I think it's super cool. If I didn't know this was an imaginary girl, I would have thought this is a real image.
Yeah. Well,
it's in the eyes. If you look in the eyes, you can tell it's not a real person.
Yeah, once you start looking, that's what I noticed too. After I stared at her for a few minutes, I was like, those eyes are a little creepy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something about them that's a little off. But let's say if you're scrolling, you're reading a news story, this is the first image you see. If you don't look too closely, you just think, oh, that's just some lady, right? So it's fooling people left and right already. Just these two-dimensional images.
Yeah.
I do agree the eyes are creepy if you look at them. And I did for a while, I said that looks a little fake, but that doesn't mean that they can't make them look real or that they won't be able to.
Well, and to use this for skin generation for avatars would be awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the issues that the AIs are currently having is that the issue of symmetrical, not symmetrical. You don't want to be too symmetrical, but you don't want to be too asymmetrical either. And they're gonna get it, but it's very creepy.
And it's hard to predict. I mean, this stuff is exploding so quickly. How fast will they get it? It's hard to predict. It could be in a month. It could be in 5 to 10 years. I mean, people are guessing, but it's so hard to tell. There's just so much happening so fast. I think when Maria and I were talking about ChatGPT, the AI we used to generate article, she had spoken to experts and they had predicted that this would be years down the line. Is that true, Maria?
Yeah.
No, and we were doing it this week.
So now there's a few developers out here in the audience, or at the very least LSL scripters. And the thing that really astounded me about ChatGPT was you could ask it to write some code. It would write the code and you could say in plain English, typos and all, no, I wanted a different variable names, and I wanted to use a different sort, and I want to do it differently, and it will just do it differently for you. You could give it a piece of code and ask it, what's wrong with my code? And it will say, well, I don't know, it depends on what you want to do with your code, but at first glance, it looks like you have an infinite loop over here. Here's how infinite loops work, and here's why you have it. Here's how to fix it. Here's the corrected code for you. That is a kind of level of common sense thinking that nobody expected us to see this year, or maybe even this decade. And if you go on YouTube and type in ChatGPT, which I strongly recommend, you will see programmer after programmer after programmer using it to code real stuff with their jaws on the floor. So,
and same thing for journalists. You can go online and you can see not just our publication, but multiple publications are already having ChatGPT. The AI that could potentially put you out of a job. All these publications are having it write articles, I think, just for the sheer novelty of what it can accomplish already. And it's just in beta, it's just in testing, right?
Yeah, so
amazing.
Yeah, so they have some constraints on ChatGPT. It doesn't have access to the internet. All its information is a year old. It does not have training on LSL. As far as I can tell, it can't write LSL scripts. It's GPT 3.5. But like with the AI art programs, remember OpenAI released DALL-E 2 in the spring, and then Midjourney came out, and then Stable Diffusion came out. And it does cost a lot to train this. But Stable Diffusion spent $500,000 training their AI model and then just released it for free and open source for people to use. I fully expect something like that to happen with chatbots now that OpenAI kind of is like broken the dam. So we're going to have AI generated people in world who can talk like real people. And ChatGPT is coming really, really close to passing the Turing test. So this happened this year. It's a very fast acceleration of AI, and it can write code. It can improve code, it can debug code, and it can optimize code. This is the scary moment we've all been scared of. That moment happened 10 days ago, people. Wake up, sheep.
It's truly, I spent, just an hour to chat GPT and it blew my mind. It's really amazing. Really.
You know what? Lear posted a question. She said, does this, in the idea of humans doing art, making that laughable? And, well, maybe to Art Blue, because he's an AI, or Kunstblau, but to us artists, we'll always make art, right?
Right. Yeah. I don't think that this is going to take away from artists, because just like photography didn't take away portrait painting.
Right.
I mean, you still would spend money and paint a portrait, and rich people will still spend money and paint a portrait, just like rich people always have.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it's special, it's unique, it's the human effort. I like having somebody bring me a home cooked meal, even though maybe objectively it might taste worse than a microwave meal. But, it's certainly not as standardized and consistent. It might be burned.
Or maybe a pill, right? That's the future.
It's made with love,
Yeah.
And we have Etsy, even though the products are more expensive and maybe not as perfect as a mass-produced one. So we're still going to have that. And artists will need to position themselves as being human and use that as their selling advantage. But the availability of AI art is going to make the production of art available to everybody, just like photography and cameras made the production of images available to everybody. And so what is this going to do for virtual worlds? What is this going to do for OpenSim? What is this going to do for other environments if we have this? We had a big quantum leap this year. We're on an accelerating curve of development. What are we going to see next year, guys?
Nothing but AI art. Teasing.
I believe that there will be another step forward, and I have a blue poster, if you can bring it up, for this, not this, the blue man. And okay, that's also a good one. You see avatars looking at art, and that's in a way we are look at art now, but we decide also on art. We say, this is a good picture, this is a painting, this I want to buy. And if you bring now, Maria, up the other one with blue, that is, I think, a little bit forward, this blue man, then you see the vision I have, that the selection, what is good art, will be given into the hands of machines. And now it will come soon. We have to, yes, that's it. That was it.
There we go.
Yes, that's it. You see here the functionality of AI in one picture. Now you see AI number 1. We just say to the machine, do it. And the machine scrolls the internet world, gets out of the noise, a noise synchronization. And the next AI which we need would be to select out of the thousands of offerings of generations, the good ones, the beauty ones, so AI2. Then we remaster it with the secret phrases, as Juliette said, like octane rendering, high resolution, sunset, and so on. And then we have something we offer to the people, to you today. It's a painted noise, I call it, and I sign it. So depending on the point, is it copyright? Yes, it is, because I signed the works. And as soon as I signed it, it's a copyright. So I signed 2 pictures here, one for an archaeologist, Jack Doe, and one for chain dough because the thinking preferences are to be found. And for this, we need AI number 4. AI number 4 scans the whole world for humans, checks their use of MasterCard, for example. So what do they buy? How do they think? What do they read? What do they watch? And what is behind this gives an input to the AI number 1. So we get the optimum of an art experience for each individual. And if we scroll now down to the end of the slides, I want to do with you this little challenge that we have not AI 4 right now, but we will have it. And this is my prediction, that the selection out of the masses of offerings needs an AI. We are not able to spend all the time to select the best what is offered. Here you have it, yeah. You have been gone over it. Yeah, I have 4 pictures made for my son, Georg, who has now his own flat. And he asked me to make him a picture. And I asked him, what shall be in it? He said, yeah, maybe a lake, maybe a forest, but no space, no aliens. Yeah, because he's a little bit infected because I have the Borg Queen showed him, the Borg Queen, with 200 pictures of the quote of the Borg Queen. He said, no, I don't want it in my living room. So if you scroll a little bit, this was the old method of, no, this is it exactly. So I made 4 pictures where I think that could fit for him, and it's still artistic. So if the audience would be so kind to give me an input as an AI number 4, what shall I present him? What shall I gift him this Christmas out of these 4 pictures I selected? Just type the number in chat and I will then give it to a professional printing company and frame it, and it will hang in this living room. And I sign it then, yeah? So that's very important. They are not signed here. They are just AI art, not copyrighted. But as soon as I've signed it, it's a copyright on it. Right. So I think this system of experimental design, you saw a slide before, experimental design, aesthetics, analysis of viewers' impressions is a long theme. It goes back to the 70s, yes, this year. And I have printed, published. The finished work will be published at a later date, and it was 1978. So in 1978, we made it with plotter drafts, and now we can make it with paintings by AIs. Right.
Well, they're telling us that we're out of time, but we can stick around for a couple more minutes and answer questions in chat. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Maria. Hey, Juliette, go right ahead.
No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lear.
Hey, you're welcome. That was fantastic. As a reminder to our audience, you will want to check out the conference.opensimulator.org to see what is coming up on the conference schedule. You won't want to miss our next session, which will begin at 4:30 p.m. in this keynote region, and it's entitled Perceptual Hashes for Copyright Protection and Copybot Detection. Also, we encourage you to visit the OSCC22 Poster Expo in the OSCC Expo 3 region to find accompanying information on the presentations and to explore the hypergrid resources in OSCC Expo 2, along with the sponsor and crowdfunder booths located throughout all of the OSCC Expo regions. Thank you again for our panel and for the audience. Thank you.